Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the League of Legends Legend Series here by ELC Gaming, and we are just awaiting our next game. It's gonna be Supernova going up against Euronics Gaming, and this is gonna be an absolute cracker. Or what do you think, Nero?
Yeah, I also think that it's going to be the probably the most exciting game today, but that leaves a little bit of question. If it is supposed to be the most exciting game of the day, then it looks like I am saying that Game Either is still going to win, whoever faces them. But unfortunately, I think that it's true. Still, though, I think that there is a big chance that Euronics can actually beat Supernova. So there you got it. But then Supernova also, as that Danish team, as I have high expectations for them, I'm gonna stay with them. I'm gonna actually bet on them right here. If it's possible, I'm gonna try to do it in a second if I got enough betties finally. So yeah, there's
Oh,
that.
this
But
is gonna be
Euronics definitely
interesting.
stand a chance.
That's the first bet you're placing, so a premiere here for everybody, and it's going to be exciting to see. So far, the bets go in favor of ESG, but we know there are a lot of people standing behind them. A lot of people are really cheering them on, so that's no surprise that ESG that they are ahead here. And as you mentioned, whoever wins this will go on to the group stage finals, and they will meet Gameiser there. Gameiser, though, they have been waiting for quite a while once it comes to that final. So maybe the fingers are a little bit cold, maybe they're out of their flow. And ESG, they are looking like finding their form once back again. So
Yeah,
this is
definitely
definitely going to be interesting.
there is a possibility that ESG are just looking for the top form as usual right now, and then maybe they'll make me eat my words, saying that the second team of Euronics Gaming, after all, is not looking just as strong as the first one. Because right now, after that match against Impact Gaming, they're kind of getting into the game, warming their engine up a little bit, and now possibly is going to be their best form if they beat Supernova. I'm gonna root for them in the match against Game Eyes, but if we see a regular game, so Euronics doing a little bit in the early game, but then still losing against Supernova, Supernova doing just as good as they did the last time, then probably Game Eyes is just gonna take it. As I mentioned, French League of Legends is really strong, but looking at the name that we've got right here, I was not expecting them to dominate the group. Though still, they actually are doing really fine. And on the other hand, Italian League of Legends just turns out not as good as we expected.
Yeah, definitely, because once more an Italo team has to leave us early on, and it's Impact Gaming this time. We've already talked about it a little bit. Outplayed, they have been a bit disappointing in Group A, but right now we are ready to jump into the picks and bans now. So Supernova, they will have the first ban, and they go for an Oriana here.
That's going to be an Oriana ban. And in the last game, definitely the threat of LeBlanc was really huge. But then Ari was still able to just mitigate that completely. So definitely looking forward to possibly you run explaining that Ari once again in the middle. Overall, their team comp seemed pretty solid. I very much liked how they executed all that. The Kennen meshed really well together with that Elise, who've always helped him. And sometimes they made some super stupid mistakes, but this happens to anybody. And I feel like Impact Gaming just gave them a bit too much exposure in that top lane. Too many free kills, too many ways to snowball that Kennen. That's why it worked out. But if it did, then you just grab the chance, and I think that it's probably gonna be Elise or Ivern for Euronics' jungler. But right now with them banning the Ivern, Elise is gonna be left out with the possibility of Supernova taking it. I just still am afraid about that Kha'Zix, but nothing was wrong with that Kha'Zix except the fact that he was just not doing much for the team after that game, at least after just maybe analyzing that previous matchup, he's gonna make himself a little bit better. I don't know, but I'm still maybe I'm not prepared to see that yet.
Yeah, he's definitely a question mark because he's shown us some ups and downs so far. So he's the one that has to step up once more for his team. And yeah, we see another Jace ban coming in here from Supernova. So once more, and the Talia ban coming in. We've just seen Talia once yesterday, if I remember that correctly. Uh, in the group stage it also a bit surprising that Euronics that they really focus so much on that ban, and Supernova now coming up with their first pick. So what is that gonna be?
Yeah, finally we get to these picks, and in fact, that's true what you mentioned about Talia. She was not banned so often earlier. She was not really picked, and now Euronics focusing on her so much, but maybe they just don't really like that pick. And up against that Ari, definitely could limit her movements a little bit. But since the Ari is also banned, Euronics will not get that into their hands. But now there's still the threat of LeBlanc. That's Euronics mid laner knew how to play against. And Crossman might just as well pick it himself. I feel like he would do well on that champion, but he can really go for anything. Yeah, Lulu was left out, and that Lulu will be picked by Euronics. I'm quite surprised that possibly Supernova did not think about that themselves. Maybe we're going to get to see the Varus once again from one of the teams, but if I remember correctly, it was Supernova who actually had that very good Varus and Lulu.
Yeah, exactly. They were playing it pretty well, so that might also be a reason for Euronics Gaming to really go and choose that Lulu here in order to really secure that, because we've seen it today. Karma could also be a mid laner. She doesn't really have to play on that support lane. And we see a Lee Sin coming in for the first time. And that is going to be very, very interesting because, as you mentioned, Don Arts, he really has to be the one stepping up here, and he has to do some active stuff with Lee Sin. Lee Sin is not the usual jungler where you can just sit back, relax, and just farm some creeps. No, you have to be active with Lee Sin.
Yeah. And the Varus actually, yeah, on the other side. So no Lulu Varus for Euronics, no Lulu Varus for Supernova, but they're still gonna have that real good AD carry. And last time, Impact Gaming just could not deal with that at all. The question is, will that Lee Sin be able to control him enough? Because yeah, Lee Sin is definitely a good character to rule out an immobile AD carry like this. Lee Sin can completely obliterate him with the Dragon Rage. Additionally, he's going to have the wild growth from Rule if he jumps into too deep of a trouble. But it's going to be Elise for Supernova again. And that Elise was open for Euronics. And it's for me a little bit surprising to see possibly that Euronics jungler is experimenting so much, because he went for Kha'Zix in the first game. Then he had a successful Elise next up. So I think that in a day where you kick off with a very bad game, it's nice to stick with something that works for you, and it will keep working. But now maybe he is just confident enough that he's going to do well in the Lee Sin 2. That hiccup that we saw in the first game of Euronics today was just a one-time thing, and maybe he just wasn't awakened so much just yet or something. Maybe somebody was sitting in his room and he couldn't focus 100% of the game. Anything could have really happened, but yeah, there we go. That's going to be Lulu, Lee Sin, Caitlyn in the first rotation of picks, and Karma, Varus, Elise on the other side. For both teams, this far it looks quite nice, but I'm a big fan of this Supernova's Varus. And this far, as I mentioned, walking into the previous game, the Caitlyn's have been a little bit blanded. I don't know if it's not going to be a problem for Euronics. If that Caitlyn actually falls a little bit too far behind, might be their demise.
Yeah, they're taking some risks here, definitely. Also, talking about Don Arts here, I think it's a good sign that he switches it up and he chooses to play Lee Sin, because that's definitely a sign of confidence here. On the other hand, Caitlyn with the risks that you mentioned, but I think Euronics, if they really want to go for the push here and if they really want to beat Supernova, they do have to take those risks. So I'd agree to that for now, at least. It remains to be seen if it really works out for them.
So looking for these two remaining picks for both the sides. And once again, there's still the possibility of the Karma going middle, but I'm not a fan of this decision. And I think that all the teams in this group realize that it simply is not the wise idea to do that. Fiora for the top lane for Euronics could be really good, but then we saw Fiora versus Renekton already, and you can see even if you snowball at Fiora very well, just a different champion can fit the game much better. Syndra indeed is going to get picked for the middle lane for Euronics, and Supernova is going to have a Kassadin in the middle lane, and we've once seen a Kassadin this far. He wasn't too bad, but I also feel like he was lacking a little bit right there. And for Supernova, overall, they're forming up a really strong lineup right here that meshes together very well, especially with that Varus that's already confirmed to be working very well for them. While on the other side, I have a tiny question marks on that Caitlyn, on that Lee Sin, if Euronics' jungler Donart was not able to execute that Kha'Zix too well. Lee Sin is a champion that heavily relies on the mechanics, and if he's got a bad day, it's not going to be a good Lee Sin at all. On that Fiora, he has to do exceptionally well in order to actually be able to crush the entirety of the enemy team. Otherwise, Galio is going to take over at some point. And yeah, glad to see the Syndra finally. Definitely keeping my fingers crossed for the mid lane of Euronics.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential in them for that composition here. Definitely looking strong. They can do a lot if it happens, but there is the risk of Supernova really shutting them down. Also, on the other hand, we saw that Varus already go on a rampage here. And yeah, also a good Galio. We've always been talking about it because he seems to be one of the most popular top laners right now, but so far didn't really strike us as one of the best picks, as most of the top laners didn't really get him into work. But we are already jumping into the game, so ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the game. It is Supernova from Denmark going up against Euronics Gaming from Germany.
And we are just one game away from looking at the finals of this group. And that's going to be a great decider. I'm quite sure of that already. Supernova are walking into the enemy jungle, but they cannot find a lot of success right there. They got spotted out already and all the information's gone through. And they didn't even leave a ward or anything, but he might be hoping to catch Donards in here with the rest of the team. Crossman actually going ahead out there. So aggressively is not a good idea. The Syndra cannot escape in any way, but luckily enough, the enemies were not close enough to do anything out there. Well then, seems like just a regular start. Actually, the Fiora is going to come a little bit closer. The ward is placed, but is it in a good enough position for ESG to know that the Galio's just waiting inside the brushes? Or are they just waiting in order to surprise him? I don't know. Now they spot him out on the ward, definitely. And you can clearly see their confusion. So, yeah. They don't necessarily think that it might be the best idea to attack him. But then the blue buff did not get killed. Did not really get taken away or anything by the red team. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not break the jungle path of monkeys at all. Everything's just perfectly fine. Donards in the meantime begins on his own blue buff. He's going to take it very easily. So the junglers are not going to have their paths broken. Ivern is not picked right here, but he controls the jungle massively. And we know that some of the players right here love to play that Ivern. So seeing a similar play style might not be surprising even on different champions. Well then, surely looking forward to seeing some action in the top lane if that Fiora is going to be as good as the cannon for ESG just a while ago. If once again, this time Supernova are going to give them so much space for breathing in the top lane. A little bit of a counter, a little bit of a stun. Oh, that's a great dodge from Donards. Is probably going to guarantee them the kill, though actually they decide to fall back, and the Lee Sin cannot handle the turret. So early into the game, but it's already a flash burned. In exchange for nothing, both the flashes are saved by Euronics Gaming in the top lane. The teleport is used up though. Already healed up. Galio is going to be coming back, and Monkeys is attacking Donarts. And where is the Galio? He's not coming up closer, any closer out here. But the first blood goes the way of the Elise. And how is it going to end? Because right now a double buff is available on the Fiora. This far it's a 1-for-1 with the assist for Euronics Gaming, so I still think that they're coming out on top right here, especially with a double buff available for Fiora. She's gonna bully the hell out of that Galio, who's already out of his summoner spells. And in the meantime, Fiora still did not burn her flash at all. So Supernova are not only behind in summoner spells, they also gave that double buff. They also gave the enemies the assists out there, but they got the bonus gold from the first blood. Not too sure if it's worth it, actually, so it could turn out quite bad. Well, the first dragon is going to be an ocean drake, so I wouldn't expect a lot of focus around that, although it's still always to reveal the up-and-coming ones, but both these teams having some unpleasant memories, or actually pleasant if we're talking about ESG. Supernova, when they took their first dragon in a match against Gameiser, they were not able to recover the control over this portion of the map, and they had to give up an Infernal and a Mountain Drake. In the meantime, ESG, they allowed Impact Gaming to take the first Cloud Drake in the previous match, and then they took the Mountain, actually an Infernal, and I think it was 2 Infernals, if I'm not mistaken. So one of the players apparently disconnected from the game. That's why we're going to have to wait a little. Oh, never mind. We are already back into it. So let's take a look at the farms on both the sides. Everything looks pretty evened out. There's no big advantage. And if there is, it's going to be completely destroyed in a matter of seconds. In terms of pushing, in the bottom lane, ESG is trying to push the Virus and Karma into the turret a little bit, and that's important. It's important to lay down the law right there in the bottom lane because of how Notorious Ale has done on his Virus last time. So right now, shutting him down should be key to the victory for the German team. And in the top lane, I'm a little bit disappointed that this double buff is not being used a little bit better by Fiora up against Galio. Definitely is a possibility to approach him. Donarts is going to miss the Sonic Wave, and I think that that already destroys the entirety of the gank. Monkeys is also going to join the fray. Does not go for the Cocoon, though I think the minions would not block him too successfully, so there definitely was a chance to even squish out some more HP from Donarts. Anyway, though, a wasted gank by the Lee Sin. Nothing used up by the enemy mid laner, and Triscorn's going to be fine. Monkbase is definitely waiting for his flash, exactly the same as the Lee Sin, because they use them up at the same time. So between the junglers is really even. And now Monkeys is going to actually delay the jungle. The big wolf was not taken by the Lee Sin, so it's always a little bit of a pain in the neck. It's always like 5-10 more seconds wasted. And it's good that Supernova keep that tension going, because they're the ones that are slightly on the back foot of that fight in the top lane. But they're not really actually set back by that at all. So will Monkeys be looking for some action in the bottom lane? As right now they spot out the Lee Sin in the middle. So they do know that something's going to be going on around there. And with Briscorn being pretty low in health and on mana, needs to go back. So they would require one person to just freeze the lane a tiny bit, not to lose the minions to the turret. That's not even what's happening. But even though Donarts actually prevented the Kassadin from recalling for a little bit longer, he received 2 turret hits right there, lost way more HP than he expected, than he was supposed to. So I would be disappointed. Now, after the first blood, after all the action in the top lane, we don't really see much more happening, so seems that we might finally be seeing a little bit slower of a game. Taunt and towards Fiora, and then she jumps into the turret as she uses the Grand Challenge. That was pretty sloppy mechanically, but it still works out. A crossman comes to the lane. The roam is very successful. 2-1 in favor of ESG. The gold discrepancy rises to 1,000, and it's already a lot. It's already definitely good for them. And then still nobody focusing on the dragon. ESG, as I mentioned, they came out a little bit on top of that first blood. Now they continue it up with another kill for themselves, so they couldn't really be happier. And with it, the discrepancy in the top rises the most. Galio's fallen. Elise has died right there. There's one kill on Fiora. There's one kill on Syndra. In my opinion, the most lethal of champions on the lineup of ESG. So the Germans really might be picking it up a lot. They lost the first match in the group up against Gameiser. Now they might be pulling themselves back up to find themselves in the finals. Coordinate, very dangerous of a situation for him, but he manages to just dodge out a couple of more skill shots, so he stays alive in there. And there we are. Leonard's completely caught out. That's something unwanted out there. And right now it's going to be the Ocean Drake finally attack. They've got nothing to lose at the end of the day by taking it. So they will waste a tiny bit of time to actually conquer that dragon. But what's important is what comes next. Once again, the Grand Challenge used up in the top lane out there, but once again, it's not too successful. And this time, there's not going to be any roaming from Crossman towards the top lane. So no kills out of that, just a wasted ultimate. But once again, just forcing the Galio to come back to base is definitely a lot. It's already creating quite a big disparity between the top laners in terms of the CS. Just look at that, 90 to 52. Nearly doubling that Galio already. And yeah, I was wondering about that Fiora. Last time the Fiora was able to dominate the lane, but was not able to shut down the Renekton. This time, we don't see any assists, which is very important because Elise went up to that top lane to get a kill for herself, but did not allow Galio to get the assist. Of course, it was just simply impossible. He was too far away. It would be too risky because she just died right after. And now he dies again. After all, he died a little bit earlier to Crossman, of course. And he's falling behind in CS. Very, very, very uncomfortable of a situation for the top laner of Supernova. The polymorph to try and shut down monkeys a little bit. And yeah, Panda is going to be able to prevent the enemies from attacking his AD carry, but he's going to die himself, sacrifice himself to that. Donart actually goes for the most healthy target in here, but it might not be a bad target. The Tori's Hail should be going down right here. And actually, Caitlyn tries to fall back at the same time. She's not going to be able to catch up to it, but it's going to be a Fiora. It's a double kill for that Fiora, making it a killing spree already with 2 additional assists. Syndra also chimes in for a kill in the meantime. And once again, the most lethal champions get the best out of these fights. It must be really painful to Supernova. Additionally, they're going to lose the first turret of the game too. It's even better. "20 creeps in the middle." I don't think that evens out the 2 kills advantage that Crossman has over Chris Cornet. There is that Ocean Drake on the hands of Supernova. The map control was not yet taken by ESG completely, so there's a chance to maybe build something up with the use of these Drakes. So that's something I'll be looking forward to. Well, Sonic Wave hits. That's a lot of info bought right here by Don Arts. He knows whether he could actually be taking that control ward or not. And right next to it, he's got another Stealth Ward. Crossman might have some support from the Fiora, and actually, yeah, right now you can see that ESG is starting to dominate the map. The enemies feel the pressure, they're a little bit afraid of that Lee Sin, they don't want to approach him. In the middle, Kasten has to stay aware underneath that turret, because he could easily be going down in there. And yeah, top lane, Big Fat and Pandar this far doing quite fine. 3 assists on that Caitlyn, definitely enough. Varus, we cannot feel his dominance this far in the game. It's the second time we see him played by Notorious Ale, but the first definitely was much better. Crossman stacking up for the ultimate, possibly? No, never mind, he's just going to clear out the wave. Would be really interesting to see had he gone for that fight. Probably would be so unexpected that Priscorn would not get a Q off before that ultimate hit, so no additional magical shield for him. Oh, an interesting attack from Donuts right there. He's going to guarantee a kill for Big Fat. That's what I not expected. And also Syndra joins in. Now she's going to use up the unleashed power. But still, the double kill is there for Caitlyn, so not sure if it's a good choice to give the kills over to Caitlyn. Syndra would still probably use them a little bit better, like gold, but also it just points out how every single member of ESG's team this far is doing well. Oh, it's going to be a Fiora a little bit caught out. She's going to try to go for the grand challenge. Pops up all of the weak points instantly. Heals up to full HP. Crossman joins the fray. He's probably going to be able to take that kill. And she's still going to be chasing down the Kasten. Hits the scatter the weak with the stun, but is not able to get the frag just yet. But Donards is going to show up right here, and this explosive plant was there, but Kasten did not manage to use it because he got a little bit too confused when his road to escape was also cut off from the other side. So yeah, that's 10-3 in favor of ESG. Another turret in their favor in the top lane, the middle lane. 3-0, they got all the outers. This is just amazing to see, because these guys lost pretty one-sidedly in the first match. And that one-sidedness would not be so bad had their jungler been playing like in the second and third match. Because he was completely useless on that Kha'Zix, was completely impactless. Now, on the Elise, tons of kills. On the Lee Sin, he's not really getting so many of these frags right here. But he's always putting up the pressure. He's always there. He's always guaranteeing his teammates something. And he's got 2,000 gold in his pockets, 2.6k on the Caitlyn, 2,000 nearly on the Karma. Excuse me, not on the Karma, but on the Lulu. 1,700, almost 1.8k on Sidra. All of these guys, every single member of ESG's team, when they go back, are going to buy up a big item already. And Supernova, they've got nothing in the pockets. Not to mention the top is losing by 3,000. The jungle by 1,000, the middle lane by nearly 1,000, the AD carry by 1.5. Only the supports don't have such a big difference because that's 400 gold, but it's already 5 wards, so it's still quite a bit. Or 5, or 4, about 4 or 5 control wards overall anyway. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Crossman using up that cleanse he's got out there, so he's also not really feeling the pressure. Nobody's really focusing him down, putting in an uncomfortable situation. This guy's just rolling over them. So 30 CS difference in the bottom lane. There is 30 nearly in favor of the Kasten in the middle lane, but you could still see that the difference is just huge. Another Ocean Drake it is, but yeah, ESG just taking it over like in the previous game. And the next one is once again going to be an Ocean Drake. Ah, so unlucky. The Drakes in this matchup are not going to be so important at all. But we've still got the Rift Herald alive. With ESG building up such a big lead, there's a possibility that they might be looking for a very quick Baron next up. So in the following 5 minutes, possibly, a lot could be happening. Well, Donart's leading the charge right here to try and clear out some vision, but yeah, walking into a little bit of a trap apparently out there. But they're going to be doing fine. After all, I don't really think that ESG is in a big danger. I don't think there's a huge chance, actually, for Supernova to endanger them. They would have to get a really, really good engage off for themselves. Surprise somebody completely, just nuke somebody down in a matter of seconds. And not too sure if they've got what it takes, if they got enough damage. Kassadin, he's not much of an assassin at the moment. He's just got a rod of ages, come on. Nobody really has a lot of damage. Varus with a Blade of the Rune King and a couple of daggers, alright, but it's not the notorious Alo we saw last time. And it's a third pause already during this match. A lot of disconnects we see out there. Anyway, though, these are not too long, so it doesn't break the flow of the game necessarily. And this time it's going to be the Elise. Once again, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, though, 1 minute 40 seconds until the Baron spawns. The Rift Herald was taken by ESG indeed, with Supernova not realizing that at all. They know nothing about it. And we've got a little bit of a replay of that situation before the Rift Herald was taken, I believe. Oh no, actually, it's way earlier of a situation. Great attack on the top lane, and I think like Supernova let themselves into it. They thought it might have been a little bit of a 2v2 with some mispositioned players from ESG, but it turned into a 2v4 very quickly. Lee Sin jumping in real nicely. Then the ultimate from Crossman. Crossman, before that situation happened, he was in the middle lane just a second ago trying to lurk around to look for a kill on Cassidy. So maybe they just didn't expect him to rotate so quickly. But yeah, that just shows you ESG are constantly on the look for some possibilities. And this is something we don't see from some teams in here. And I'm really glad to see ESG just growing up after the first match of the day. And it really, really, really makes me think they might stand a chance against Game Isa. Maybe they just wanted to make it harder for themselves on purpose or something. So Priscorant, as you can see, this part doing quite fine on clearing out the minion waves, though. I'm really wondering what's going to happen when he faces off against the champions. Because as I said, they don't really have the possibility of nuking somebody down. And that's what they need in order to force a favorable team fight for themselves. Because in a straight, like 2v2, 3v3, 5v5, they're not going to do well. Also, there's a possibility of Galio going for a clutch ult. But such a thing did not really happen this far throughout the whole 3 days of the League of Legends Legend series. So, still no deaths on the mid laner, no deaths on the top laner, and no deaths on the AD carry of ESG. Looking perfect for them right now. Some of them having the killing sprees, so the shutdowns would be really nice for Supernova. So what I see, what is a possibility right now for them is just gather up as much strength as possible and try to catch someone out. But just like this, one singles kill, and Crossman gets a kill on Supernova support. With that and the Baron alive, they got the AD carry in the top lane. They got Lulu controlling the upper half of the jungle completely. Could even decide to go for it. I feel like it wouldn't be too bad of an idea, but yeah, for now, they have the Rift Herald. They will try to push down the middle a little bit. Yeah, Notorious Ale has to fall back, so huge chance to get even more right there. Monica's even so low at health, and that's a Galio jumping in towards the middle because he's escaping Fiora from the bottom lane. It's not like he's trying to help out his teams. So the middle inner turret is taken. Rift Herald is even still alive, not for long, but he is. That's a surprising fact always. The top inner turret is going to be taken. The bot inner turret is going to be taken. They're losing so many structures, and once again, the Baron is just a possibility. This time, though, the support is already alive, so maybe it's not such a good idea to go for a straight 5v5. Still, at the end of the day, that could be the engage that Supernova is looking for. If ESG make a mistake with taking the Baron, they lose too much HP off from him, they will have enough to nuke them down, to finish them off. It's okay. And with the Rod of Ages already stacking up really high, with it actually finishing in stacks, there's the Sheen, there's a Blasting Wand on Chris Cornet, so that Cassidy is going to grow a little bit stronger over time. And there's a possibility finally that he'll be able to pop someone real quickly. But yeah, Ravenous Hydra, Black Cleaver, Hex Drinker on Fiora, she's going to be pretty tough. And additionally, she's going to dish out millions of damage. And actually, Notorious Ale has only got the Blade of the Ruined King, while on the other side you've already got an Infinity Edge with the Ruinous Hurricane and another Zeal. Looks a little bit bad. That probably is going to be the Rapid Fire Cannon for Big Fat that he's aiming at out there. Leonard's taking care of that last and third Ocean Drake. Probably pretty annoyed that it's that, because it's not going to force out any kind of team fight. It's not really important of an objective, but what comes next could be quite fine. And never mind. Even if they do it perfectly, it's a little bit too late to get another regular dragon before an Elder Drake. So after this one, after this Ocean Drake, no idea what we're going to see next, because we didn't see the Dragon Pit as it was finished, but after the next Drake, it's surely going to be the Elder Dragon. The question is, are we going to get to see that, or will ESG finish off the game before it happens? Right now, they're looking for some easy kill for themselves. Good Chain of Corruption. Zoran Arts might have been a little bit of a danger, but yeah, they have the Yordle Snap Traps all over the jungle. They have the pocket ward jumps, of course, and did the Sonic Wave hit? Because if it did, I think there was a big chance of Donards actually stealing it, but maybe he didn't want to risk it. Anyway, it is taken by Elise, so still First Cornet doesn't get it. Always something positive for ESG, and ESG are starting to take care of the Baron, but there's vision over that for Supernova. Donards is not so healthy, but the Baron's going down pretty quickly. The teleport starts, so now they know about the ward right there. They have to interrupt the Baron. It's gonna heal up, but nobody really has the chance to get some kills. Actually, it's gonna be a shutdown finally in the Syndra. That ultimate from Galio was the worst ultimate I've seen all week long. Anyway, 11-4 in favor of ESG, but starting to try and turn it all around is Supernova, and well, that Galio is gonna survive somehow. Notorious Ale, though, picked off the back of it by Donard, so it's not like it was all for nothing. In the bottom lane also, the inhibitor turret was taken down. The inhibitor itself is gonna be destroyed, so Fiora doing an amazing job. Even if she dies, she's doing a good job, definitely right there. Big Fat, I was wondering about that. Caitlyn, if it's going to be flat, if it's not going to be able to do anything, but you can clearly see she's putting the pressure on even the Kassadin, the guy that I think has the most potential to do something about Euronics Gaming in the lineup of Supernova, because he's crushing the enemy Syndra in terms of the farm, because he's looking quite fine in terms of the item builds this far. So yeah, he's still got something to say. And after that team fight, to sum it up, a little bit of a mistake from ESG because they didn't take care of all the vision, thus allowing Galio to teleport directly into the team fight. and exposing their Syndra completely while splitting the teamfight into two different parts. But I don't think it was a big loss for them. It is a little bit of a delay, but Supernova did not gain anything from it since they lost the inhibitor in the bot lane. Even without losing the inhibitor in the bot lane, would not have been a perfect situation for them. Of course, that's how you combat. That's how you do something, actually, but it's not enough. And another team fight opens up, and this time it's ESG who are the initiators in here. They engage quite nicely on towards the Elise, and Monkeys is already gone, so now Baron once again is a possibility, though will they want to risk this time around? Ace in a hole hits the Galio, he soaks it up, but it might not be a good soak because he's going to be dead just because of it. The Grand Challenge is used up. Chris Gordon is finally going to die, so the Grand Challenge is popped, but it doesn't matter because it's too far away. Still, though, they do manage to get the clean ace. They don't lose a single member of their team. Only the Lee Sin is a little bit low in health, but they do have the super minions coming in from the bottom lane already. And with these super minions, even without the Baron buff, they should be able to take some of the Nexus turrets, though. Monkeys is already back. It's only the 27th minute of the game. The death timers are not so huge. The stun also does not hit. He's going to be annoying. There is a possibility that Supernova will still survive the ending a little bit longer. No, never mind. Notorious Ale is a little bit too far from respawning, and it's still just the Elise. She's not going to be killed. The repel was also used. Even without it, there would be not enough damage to finish her off. But ESG, these guys are rising up a lot. Against Impact Gaming, they had problems. They had huge problems. It was not so easy to close out the game. Against Supernova, they pretty much easily win. So against Gameizer, I'm 100% positive that they do stand a chance. They can still take it.
Yeah, definitely. What a great comeback by them. I really didn't expect them to take on Supernova here. And this is gonna be worth a final game here in this Group C. And we were predicting it all along that this group might be one of the most interesting ones. And so far, we were not disappointed in that.
I'm excited by what happened in that game because everything went pretty much perfectly fine for Euronics Gaming. Supernova only had something they could do in the early game, but there was this flow. They were following everything up with something else, and they kept up the tempo. They even started doing these dragons not so late into the game, even though these dragons were not so valuable. They still took them because it's these bits by which you're pushing the game further and further ahead, by which the enemy feels that we are behind. Oh, when you're just trying to farm up and thinking that maybe the late game is going to be better, there's another dragon flying straight into the pockets of the enemy. So another thing to worry about, because if you get to the late game, you have to worry about not giving up on the Elder Drake, and then at the same time probably the Baron is just really complicated. Anyway, though,